The Little Red Dot. Singapore is truly a gem in Southeast Asia, a modern, prosperous, and immaculately clean city-state. It's now placed 7th in terms of safety on the 2024 Global Residence Index, placing it ahead of Iceland, Switzerland, and even Japan. Singapore has one of the lowest rates of violent crime worldwide. Rather than being concerned about street crime, visitors' main fear is inadvertently breaching one of Singapore's rigorous rules. Even while there are few small-time con artists to be aware of, they pose less of a threat than a nuisance. Singapore is a desirable location to live, work, and travel because of its extraordinarily safe atmosphere. But have you ever wondered why street crimes are nearly non-existent in this island nation? In this video, we'll take a look at some of the unique factors that have created this extraordinarily secure society. Before we begin, what's your perception of Singapore's safety and low crime rates? Have you ever visited and felt that sense of security firsthand? Let us know with some facts. Last year, 2023, there were 1,188 crimes per 100,000 people, which was a 10-year high. An expansion has been a rise in frauds and cybercrimes, which are made possible by more people using technology and online resources. Digital exploitation and fraud cases seem to be areas where further precautions should be required. While Singapore maintains an admirable reputation for low crime rates, the latest statistics reveal some concerning trends that shouldn't be overlooked. Singapore hasn't been immune to more traditional street crimes. There's traffic infractions, theft, and disorderly conduct, which continue to be some of the most often reported crimes. Interestingly, the Singapore police force has called attention to disorderly conduct, which includes voyeurism and sexual harassment in public spaces, as a concerning trend that is on the rise. The rise in commercial or white-collar crimes, such as fraud, tax evasion, embezzlement, and money laundering instances within companies and firms, is another dynamic concern. Robust financial regulations and stringent enforcement will be crucial to combating these complex schemes. On a positive note, corruption within government and political spheres remains relatively rare in Singapore compared to many other nations. While no city is completely exempt from criminal activity, Singapore's overall rates are still impressively low for a highly urbanized, densely populated nation. One of the biggest factors behind Singapore's low crime rates is its absolutely zero-tolerance policy when it comes to law and order. The authorities here don't mess around. They take a hard-line stance against any unlawful activities. The country's justice system is considered fair, and its government is not hindered by corruption. Although everyday life in Singapore may be relatively free from crime, human rights organizations express concern about how the country's strict laws impact its residents' freedom. First off, Singapore has one of the most efficient and highly trained police forces you'll find anywhere. These officers use cutting-edge technology and tactics to prevent crimes before they even happen. Their response times are lightning fast, too. In addition, security cameras are all around the nation. By the mid-2030s, the Singapore Police Force, or SPF, plans to have installed over 200,000 of these cameras, as well as updated and functionally enhanced the current ones. At the moment, the island is home to almost 90,000 of these cameras. It resembles having a million unblinking eyes scanning the area all the time for any unusual activities. But it's the strict penalties for crimes that really set Singapore apart. Singapore truly does have a zero-tolerance policy for criminal activity. Here, we're not discussing a warning or a little stay in the county jail. Nope, this island government unleashes the big guns. That is, the death penalty and cruel corporal punishment. Let's start with caning, a punishment that seems ripped straight out of the medieval ages. In Singapore, getting whipped with a rat and cane is still very much a thing for various offenses, like vandalism, theft, and even as minor as selling chewing gum illegally. Yup, you read that right. Get caught hawking Hubba Bubba, and you could end up with stripe-patterned scars on your backside. But caning is just the warm-up act. The real headliner is Singapore's active use of the death penalty. We're talking executions by long drop hanging at the crack of dawn for a staggering 33 crimes. Drug trafficking, firearms offenses, kidnapping, you name it. They will hang it if the law allows. Take the recent case of Ahmed Salim, a Bangladeshi national executed in February 2024 at the age of 35 for murdering his ex-fiancée back in 2018. Talk about a harsh ending. His story is just one of many that shows Singapore doesn't mess around with capital punishment. Now, in an attempt to appear a tad more humane, Singapore did amend some laws in 2012 to exempt certain offenses from the mandatory death sentence. But having the death penalty on the books at all already puts them in a small, controversial minority of nations. A 2021 survey showed that more than 80% of Singaporeans continued to favor the death penalty. You would be very wrong to believe that such harsh measures would be met with strong public opposition. Whether you think of it as outdated cruelty or a successful deterrence, one thing is certain: Singapore's determination to firmly execute these severe penalties has probably had a significant impact in preventing street crime and violence. Really, would you want to take the chance of receiving a cane or being hanged for small-time theft? It's an extreme, uncompromising stance for sure, but in Singapore's mind, if instilling that level of fear in would-be criminals is what it makes to maintain a near-spotless public safety record, then so be it. The ends justify the means, as they might say. Though the morality of such policies will forever be a hotly debated topic. But strict laws are just one part of Singapore's approach. Social values and educational programs that support law-abiding, civic-minded behavior from an early age are equally significant. As a result, you have a whole system of concerted efforts that collectively condition and deter people from committing crimes from a young age. In Singapore, deference to authoritative figures, upholding social peace, and following norms and hierarchies are highly valued cultural values. Character development programs are offered in schools, where children are taught to accept accountability for their actions and behave honorably. There's even a statutory board called the Singapore Namibind Council that's all about nation building and promoting shared values. So, from a very young age, Singaporean kids get the message: we don't tolerate antisocial behavior, crime, or disrespect for the law. Those who do commit crimes often face immense social stigma and ostracization, even from their own families and communities. Lastly, economic stability coupled with government transparency has meant extremely few protests or civil unrest, apart from the occasional disgruntled person demanding access to their retirement funds. By providing a decent standard of living and well-paying jobs, Singapore has effectively eliminated one of the major driving forces behind crime in many other parts of the world. It's a stabilizing foundation that allows their comprehensive security measures to be all the more effective. When citizens and residents yearn enough to comfortably support themselves, the allure of petty crimes like theft and robbery naturally diminishes. After all, why risk all that punishment over a few dollars when you can afford your basic needs? Singapore's extraordinarily low crime rates are a result of a multifaceted strategy that includes offering economic opportunities to lessen the incentives for crime, enforcing severe penalties like caning and executions as effective deterrents, and consistently working to educate young people about the repercussions of breaking the law. The results are clear. Singaporeans experience a degree of public safety that is unrivaled in the majority of other cities. Though contentious, Singapore's strict anti-crime policy has been very successful in making the country a model for other crime-ridden countries by making illegal activity the exception rather than the rule. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content.